Dear friends, today we have with us Swagatika Mohapatra and Rebecca Crawley, and both of them are involved with a very, very interesting and exciting project. As perhaps you would not know till now, there are First Nation students from Australia who are studying in a university in India, in Orissa, the Centurion University. And both Rebecca and Swagatika have been involved in this project. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Pallavi.
Pleasure.
Thank you. Let me start with you, Swagatika. Can you tell us a bit more about this project and how has this come about?
Okay, so Centurion is a pioneer in skill integrated education. So we Centurion University, as we provide employment linked skill training program to poor school dropout unprivileged students from the rural background and tribal community. So we after providing training we place them in different industries and so that they can earn their livelihood up in so our president professor Muktikant Misra, he closely worked with indigenous students in Australia. So he visited the community, indigenous community in WADEYE in Australia. Then he decided to start this program. So here Rebecca also, who is the director of the director of Thamarrurr Youth Indigenous Corporation. So she visited many times Centurion University, and then she found a great platform in Centurion University to provide a skill training program to the indigenous students. Then she initiated this program. Then we started also the community member from indigenous community member from WADEYE from Australia. First they came to visited our university, and then to understand the culture, how the university. So then they decided to start the program. So like this. So it's a long planning. It's a many years. We planned many years, almost 6 years. Then now Centurion University is hosted Thamarrurr Youth First Nation student for the 6 month skill training program. So is that really this program benefits both all the indigenous community and the involved people. So they can when they after this program when they can go back to community, they can also can be an entrepreneur. So this
Yeah.
way we started this program.
Yeah. And Rebecca, if I may ask you, how has your experience been like so far? And if you could tell us about the project from your perspective.
Certainly. So, as Swagatika mentioned, the Centurion is set up to offer education opportunities for tribal Indians who haven't had access to education in the past. So, for us working in a remote Aboriginal community where education has not been accessible for generations, it highlighted an opportunity that we might be able to do the same thing. So we've done numerous, as a youth organisation, we've looked at numerous training programs within Australia, and we've decided that the model that is on offer doesn't really fit the learning that is required by our students, our First Nations students. So their ways of knowing, doing, and being are different to the Western education model. So even though Centurion is following the Australian TAFE system, they've altered it to fit their tribal students, which then is a really great fit for our First Nations students in Australia. And as you can see at the moment, I'm in India and Swagatika is in Australia. So we're really developing these Australia-India links and opportunities as well. So we hope that this program will scale to include more First Nations students coming from Australia, and potentially there already are the countries that are experienced centering as well. and then potentially some reciprocal studies or that type of thing back in Australia as well.
Yeah, and it is a very novel project, and perhaps might be the first of its kind, where you've got First Nation students coming and studying in a university in India. What has been the experience of the students? Have they spoken to you about how they feel, and what is their assessment of the situation so far?
Well, I think that there have been First Nations people that have come to India to look at different art forms, cultural art, and that type of thing. But I think that for a sustained period of time, so these women from the community are here for 6 months, and they're undertaking an apparel and textiles training. So it's a sustained amount of time, which is different to anything that's even been done before, I think.
Mhm.
It's interesting, the experience. A lot of the cultural norms from India are similar to some of their remote community culture as well. So family is a very, very important part of Aboriginal culture. Um, the women mention that the dogs in India look exactly like the dogs at home in WADEYE as well, which look different from anywhere else in Australia, apart from those remote Aboriginal communities. That cross between the dingo type of thing.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
some of the art forms are similar too. They've got used the same sort of colours and the natural dyes from the roots and the seeds and the leaves, that type of thing. So they've seen these sort of similarities. One of the most interesting things I think for them is people in India don't believe that they're from Australia, because people in India believe that Australians look like me. And when they see someone with dark skin, they say, no, you can't be. Where were you from before you came to Australia? They
Australia.
say that you're African. So, in terms of some of these impacts that we have along the way, are even more significant than the ones we set out to do. So, even just that acknowledgement by Indians that we have our First Nation tribes still in Australia, and that this is what the real Australian looks like, has been a
Mm.
huge learning opportunity as well.
Yeah. Swagatika, coming back to you, you have traveled to Australia, you have interacted with members of the community there.
Yeah.
What is your take on this project, and what has been the reception in the community back there from where these students belong? Because I think you have been there as well, and you've interacted
Yeah.
with the community. So what is your take?
Yeah, I visited their community recently last month, March. So it was really great experience for me. I met their family members. I met their parents. So I took an interview of them also. So they are really proud for their students, so for their daughter, and they really think they can, this is the first community member they are going out from their community. Before
Hmm.
that, no one went like this. So they're really proud for their daughter, and in the future they have the hope. So next base can go, and they have the hope when they will go back. So they can create their own as an entrepreneurship. They can create their own shop, they can do their own sewing machine, they can buy some sewing machine and do their work for them. And also they can sales, they can do job in anywhere in
Hmm.
Australia. So they're really
Yeah.
good off now.
Yeah. And just one last question to you, Swagatika, before I'll
Yeah.
go back to Rebecca. Do you reckon that you're going to see more engagement, that you hope that more students from the communities, different communities in Australia are going to come to Centurion to undertake different skills programs?
Yeah, we are working on that. So we are just also, when I visited their community, I met their family member, one of their students who first came to university, but she went back. She wanted to come back again. So now, all when we started this project, it was a little bit difficult for us. Like we faced many challenges, like food challenges, but we overcome the challenges. And we prepared in different menus as per their preferable choice. So we added one Indian dish, so that to help them to acclimatize, so that it will be easy for them to in future. So
Hmm.
accordingly, for their even language pronunciation issue, so both student and trainer, they together work and our trainer spoke now. She's speaking slowly. They learned sign language, they learned audio language too, like as we
Oh,
are
wow.
in Odisha. Yeah, they really learned culturally, they are related now. So there, before when they started the project, it was difficult. They were like feeling homesick, all these like challenges we are facing. Now it's overcome, we overcome all the challenges. Now they're happy extremely. They're going for walking, jogging, so they're happy there. And they're feeling homely in the Centurion University campus. Then they're using all the facilities available in the university, like they're doing gym. That in the morning sometimes they go for yoga. They're enjoying swimming, and also they're learning art. And so they're speaking audio language. This is really nice. And they visited nearly they had visited India, uh, Agra, and they had a
Hmm.
holiday. They visited Rebecca with Eve. They visited Agra to know the culture, to know the history of the India. So all this, so now they're enjoying. So it gives us hope. Like, yeah, next we are planning to bring next batch. It's not only girls, all also boys and girls together they can come. Yeah.
Yeah. And
So far
Rebecca,
it's a successful. So far it's a successful project. So it's going great.
all right. And just one final question to you, Rebecca, that in the long run, how crucial do you think initiatives like these are going to be? And especially if we talk about the education sector, especially with regards to First Nations people, do you think that India can really become a destination, given the cultural nuances, for a lot more students to come and study here? Because generally, when we think about education, we are thinking of Indian students going to Australia. But do you reckon that in the long term, this can become like a really sustainable project with a lot of more First Nations community students coming to India, given the similarity in the cultural nuances and other things that India offers?
Absolutely. I think that that um, and also focusing just not on education but on livelihoods is very important for First Nations people in Australia. So in it, just as a bit of a background, in WADEYE, the mission came. The Catholic mission was formed in 1935. So before that, they hadn't had much contact with Western people. So 1935 was when they had their first contact. They were taken. Everyone was taken off their country and brought into the mission. And in the 1970s, the welfare was introduced. So since then, they've had generations of unemployment and no livelihoods at all. So what we're really looking at, it's skills and it's education, but it's also livelihoods. And I think that is a huge gap that we have for First Nations people in Australia. Also, it's about them coming over here and learning to make choices for their own future. So really about self-determination. So a lot of people say, well, what is their plan? And our plan is that will be their decision. So we give them the opportunities and then they make those decisions and we assist them the whole way. So when they return, they will also be mentored to go in the direction that they need to. This isn't a short-term 6-month project. It's taken nearly 100 years for this terrible situation to be created, and now we have to take the time to be able to make that undo as well. So I definitely think that there's an opportunity for more of this to happen, especially if there is a focus on livelihoods and education from an experimental um, background.
Rebecca and Swagatika, thank you so much for speaking with us. And it seems like a really great initiative. And let's hope for the best going forward.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much, Pallavi. Thank you.
Thank you.